Hello and welcome back to UTS-RC. Now, the more astute of you will notice that we are not under the stairs today, we are in the shed. Now, a couple of years ago, was it a year ago? Wasn't that far ago. Inside Line Models, they always have a cars and coffee night. And every now and again they run a competition where you can take your cars in, you can win stuff, you can take part in crawler events, things like that, which brings me on to this behind me. So, me and my pal went down, never been into crawling before. We had a go of a crawler. Absolutely loved it. Anyway, next thing you know, TRX 4M arrives, doesn't it? This one, to be precise. Now, this is my T4. No, it's not. It's TRX 4M. Now, I have put many bits on this. I have put links on it. I've put lifting links. I've put different shocks on it. I have taken things off the back. I have put add-on bits on the front, on the top. I've put a light kit on it. So yeah, so that is mine. Now the plan was, and it's a shed where you've got a little bit of room, you end up creating something. A crawler course up, open it up, and you've got a crawler course ready to go if you don't have the space around the house. But it's really easy to do, and if you have got a crawler and you kind of got a bit of spare space, or you've got a shed that you think to yourself, I put a crawler course in there, have a go. A lot of it is cardboard. A lot of it is cardboard and waste material from the house, like packaging boxes, and I think there's bubble wrap as well. I think a lot of this behind here is all bubble wrap. I think this section at the top there, and it's literally just the plaster stuff that you like when you break your arm and they wrap your arm in this sort of the gauze in, which has got the it's almost like the plaster of Paris, and it's as simple as that. But let me spin you around and I'll take you through the course. So unfortunately, the actual build videos that I made of it on another camera have all gone, unfortunately. I can't find them, which is a little bit annoying because it sort of basically had me showing you how I built them and how things went together. And yeah, but I have got a number of still pictures that I'll put up at the end of it just to give you an idea of actually how it was built. Now, I am tempted. Now, I know I'm sort of more into the racing side, but FMS have brought out the Camel range. Now, I think there's a couple of Land Rovers in there. Um, there is a newer Land Rover, and there's also a Range Rover. Now, I really quite fancy that Range Rover, but yeah, drop me a comment. Do you think I should get the Range Rover for the course? Because it's a bit smaller, so it might just be a little bit more in scale. Anyway, so how do we do it? So I kind of started from this bit. This here is roofing from the actual shed that the course is in, and I just thought it might sort of make a nice little bit of tarmac look. So obviously you come to the back. They're just cardboard boxes all laid out. Made the path which comes around here. Obviously these are just branches from the garden that I've chopped up and sprayed a little bit darker. Obviously it's full of cobwebs as well. But yeah, literally it is just cardboard. Now, what it is, you make the cardboard shape as to how you want it, obviously. Then I've got some of the, I forget what it's called. It's like modelling gauze, but it actually comes pre-soaked. All you need to do is wet it. So you're going to need to wear some gloves because it can get quite messy. And all you do is you put it in a bucket of water, cut it to the size of strips that you want, nothing too sort of over the top because it does sort of fold in on itself and it's an absolute pain to unravel. And literally lie it out. And then you want to just sort of dab it into the recesses and just sort of mold it, but then smooth it out so it fills some of the cracks. Let me just see if I can find, so you can see there where it's just not quite sort of smoothed off enough. But again, it's not, massively noticeable. So once you've got all of the gauzing stuff all over the top. I then got some postcrete. So what I did with this stuff is I went around and I wet everywhere, and I got the postcrete, and this was the fun stuff, and you literally just lob the postcrete at it, just really hit it, just to give it some definition and some texture. And on that side, it really shows up quite well. And then once all that's dried, because obviously you get it, sort of you're getting it quite dusty, so you get quite a dusty terrain, which is what I wanted really. And then all I got then was, I think this sort of gravelly stuff here was out of like a bonsai. I think I've got the packet somewhere, but it's just it's not quite pea gravel, something like finishing gravel, I think it was called. And you get a big old bag of it and just literally just lay it around. And these rocks here, because I live in quite a newish build, there's a lot of these rocks and pebbles and stones that are just lying around from where they've been digging up sort of the earth for the foundations to go down. So there's loads of it lying around. These two things, these are out of hot air balloons, like birthday balloons and celebration balloons. So the things that actually hold the balloon down when it's full of helium. They're what's inside them, so I thought I could put them to some good use. What else have we done? The static grass. God, that was fun. See, basically, you'll be surprised at just how much scale modelling becomes. I don't know. I really enjoyed the scale modelling side of it. But the static grass, I got a big tub of PVA glue, glued the areas that I wanted, put some static grass in a sieve, and just literally sieved it over to where it touched, blew away a little bit of the excess, and that was it. And you get, obviously you can put it wherever you want then. And I also found that Inside Line Models, because they do a lot of railway stuff, they do a lot of coloured. Now it doesn't really come across great on camera. Let me see if I can get it in focus a little bit or a bit closer. You can see it's reds and greens. So from a distance, it actually looks, I don't know, like flowers or heather or something on the side of a hill. But yeah, and my little trees. Do love my little trees. Now these were made using a hanging basket liner. So I got a huge great roll of it from the garden centre, and you cut it into, I think it was 2-inch squares. Then you cut it into 1-inch squares, and then separate each of those squares that you've cut. So you're effectively making sort of 2 layers of a thicker one, 2 layers of a slightly thinner one, and so on and so on. And basically all I did with that was I sprayed them brown, then again went over with the static grass and just give them a light dusting. I think with this I used the carpet glue, so I just literally went over the whole lot and just sprayed everything with carpet glue, just so it gives a bit of texture in the foreground. So you've got to go round something rather than just follow a track, but they're kind of just sort of dotted around everywhere. The ones at the top aren't quite finished. As you can see, they need their tops on, such as these ones. But again, it's just something to play with. And with it being indoors, you can do it whenever you get free time to do it, or not trying to get a RC car around a track that doesn't want to play ball. What else did we do? The bushes, the little bushes. Now these are the stuffing from Cuddly Toys. You can buy this online, and it comes in a great big bag. It's basically like cotton wool, and you just pull a chunk off into a circle, put some spray put some paint in a container, and just roll them around. And again, just place them wherever you want, and just give them a sprinkle of greenery. Or I think over here we did one that's got a bit of the red from the top up there. That's got a bit of that on it there, and just place them wherever you want on your course. And this is what I did. So it's obviously it's a 360. Well, it's sort of goes 360, but it's on a number of levels. It goes up here and then around the top there, and it'll probably blow out now because I'm going into the sun, and it goes across, and it goes up there, and it goes right across the back. You don't want to get it stuck up there because it's a bit awkward to get to your car. So then it comes back down here, and then it's across the top there, dodging all the cobwebs obviously, and then you can come down here, and then you lift off the little bridge, and then you can sort of try and do a 3-point turn at the top, and then come back, and then come down this section, and then just, yeah, so there you are. So that is my crawler track. I say I'll put the stills of how I actually did it and the start and finish process, and then right at the end we'll add some actual footage of the car being used on the track.